the difference between pain and suffering. Let me get back to that. So pain is the here and now pain, the heartache, the emotional pain, the physical pain. That's in the here and now. Suffering is all of the thoughts and feelings we have before the pain happened, and all the thoughts and feelings we have after the pain has happened. That's what suffering is. Okay. Um, Now, okay, so one of these, I have a little story for this. So one of the favorite ways that I have for sedating the nervous system is doing a hot cold plunge experience. That's when you're in hot water, like a sauna, jacuzzi, hot shower, and then you go into cold water. And then you do like an alternation of that several times. Now, you can imagine going from hot to cold, not the most pleasant experience. But if I were to use this example of difference between pain and suffering, is that when you're going from this nice hot jacuzzi 102 degrees water into this 50-degree water, you can't call that painful, okay? Because you're experiencing, it's like cold, and your body's having a reaction, and you're having like a full visceral reaction to this. That could be considered pain. And then you're in it for a little while and you get used to it. You need to stay in there for at least 3 minutes for it to have its effect, and then you go back to the hot water. But so you go back into the hot water, you get heated up again, and then you're in the journey from getting out of the hot water into the cold. Now, all those thoughts and feelings you have of dread before you drop into the cold, that's the suffering part. Actually dropping into the cold, that's the pain part, okay? So, and you can take this in many different contexts. We hold suffering in our awareness with our thoughts and our emotions. And a lot of times it's because we're mad that we had to go through the experience in the first place. And our ego driver wants to blame something for it. But when we are in deeper connection with the truth of who we are as infinite beings, there's a very different nesting doll of relationship, a very different nesting doll that changes the relationship. And that is that we are an infinite being having a human experience. And when you start looking at things in this way, and meditating and feeling and tuning into those aspects of yourself, you start to realize that your soul has you here for a reason, and everything that's happening is happening for you. Everything, the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, the shatters, the everything, it's all happening for you. Why is this happening for you? It's happening for you because your soul wants all unresolved energy to come full circle. The soul is always looking for things to come full circle, so freedom can exist, so free flow can happen again. That's why the elders will tell you, how can you shift your relationship? How can you look at this as happening for you? Okay. That's why they say this, because we're trained to think the opposite and believe the opposite. But as soon as we start looking at things and through the soul's perspective, it helps us find a new relationship, a new footing. Now, that's not to say that you cancel out your feelings that you're having, the crisis feelings, whatever chaotic feelings you might be having, in order for that and force that truth upon you. That's not the same thing. That's making your feelings wrong because you're thinking something wrong. Really, it's a wild ride. You have to really be honest inside what's happening and let that thought, that idea, be a principle inside of you, okay, that guides you through the storm, that guides you through the chaos. It doesn't cancel the chaos out. It guides you through the storm as you're riding it in the emotional experience that you're having. The presence, right? So emotions move like water. Now, if they're stuck, then it might feel like muddy water, really muddy water, right? But if we let us have our emotions without the mind thoughts that tell us why we are having those emotions. As in, you're not justified in what you're thinking or feeling. You're just having them with no blame whatsoever. They're just there being had. Okay. Then that muddy, thick water starts to move, and a current starts happening. And then the feeling that you started sinking into actually starts changing into a different feeling. So it might start off as anger, then it will turn to being scared, then it might turn into being sad, and that might turn into feeling helpless. Now, if the emotions are getting more and more intense as you're letting them move, that's actually a good sign that you're doing what you need to be doing. Okay, but there is a point in time where, as those emotions move, as you let that energy move and discharge, and maybe your soul's been waiting for you to really have that experience your entire life, okay, or lifetimes. It can be that much. There could be that much magnitude to it. What will start to happen is that you'll be able to have the emotional pain and love, believe it or not, at the same time. You can really feel the smile inside, a loving, warm feeling inside while you're experiencing fear or while you're experiencing helplessness. It quite literally breaks. It feels like your heart is breaking. But on the other side of that, so much of that energy moves. All of the agreements, contracts that have been made because that energy existed inside of you, all that stuff washed out with the emotional energy. All that stuff washes out. This is quite literally how you can completely transcend long-standing soul contracts without knowing anything about what soul contracts are, right? Long-standing paths of turmoil and disempowerment can move through with just one sitting of riding your emotions through. Now, the reason why that we're doing this, remember, is so we can really be present in the here and now. We can change the pain in the here and now into power. So this chaos that's going on will very quickly go from, oh my God, I'm losing my mind, all this stuff is going wrong. It will go from that to just, and you're in it. You're just facing it. You're riding it. It's happening. This is one of those facets to the secrets of Jaguar medicine, okay, is that the presence of your heart is so available that it transmutes and transforms everything. And you start stepping into a very, very powerful creator role.